Charles Darrow got married, he promised his wife they'd become millionaires. But the Great Depression came and he ended up hitting rock bottom. He was ready to give up on his dream, but his wife encouraged him to keep going. So he took his idea of pretend property and play money and he turned it into a board game. It's called Monopoly. And when Parker Brothers bought it off Darrow, it made him the first millionaire game designer in history. So when you're on the right track, refuse to give up. And recessions come and recessions go. I had a young guy come to me and say, "This is the worst recession I've been in." And I said, "You're not old enough to have been through other recessions." Unfortunately, I've been through too many and I'm still here today. And it was like a wake-up call. When we had a fire in 2002, it's 8 minutes past midnight on October 3. Why do I know that is? Because the digital clock's right next to me on the bed. And because the phone rang. And Sue got to the phone, because I'm not good at that time of night. And she said, "Oh, the warehouse is on fire." I said, "Thank goodness I'm dreaming." She said, "You're not." And we jumped out of bed, got changed. We drove there, sort of praying on the way. We got there and there's this trickle of smoke. It was only over in Anella Avenue, for those who remember it. And there are only 3 fire engines and there's smoke. And I thought, wow, it's only a bit of smoke. I hope nothing's damaged. Well, this was our roasting plant, our warehouse and our office with all our people. And in an hour, the flames leapt and it burnt for 3 days and burnt to the ground. We had 92 stores open and there was it, no product. So there's a whole lot of stories with this, but it was the staff who locked arms together and rebuilt the business. The interesting thing, there's a few lessons out of a disaster in a business because most people want to give up, and I've got to tell you, you feel like at that point. But what happened was, after about 2 hours and the fire's raging, the fire chief says, "You might as well go home, there's nothing you can do." So we went home, we sat there, as you imagine, didn't really go back to sleep, and we talked. I said, "I've got to be back at 5:30 in the morning because at 6 o'clock, the first staff, the warehouse guys arrive, and I feel I should be there." As one of the owners, only in Australia at that time, someone should be there so they hear something sensible. I've got no idea what it's going to be when they arrive. So I get there at 5:30 and my phone rings and it's a courier who delivers up in the Hunter region, Newcastle Hunter region. He rang me, he said, "I've just heard the news. I collected 2 new store orders yesterday. Do you want me to bring the stock back?" Now, no sleep. And I'm thinking, yes, we need product. And I'm thinking, well, 2 store orders isn't going to be sufficient for 92 stores. And one thing I'd learned over the years is you don't make a decision for today, you make it for the future. So you lift the vision up. Immediately Channel 9, a TV network, major TV network, shove a microphone and a camera in my face, making sure the fire's raging behind me to have some dramatisation. And the only question is, you're going to have to close. Now, I've also learnt, when you're being interviewed for news, don't speak for long, because they cut it, the message. So you give them maximum 10 seconds. And the other thing I've learned is, again, you make a decision for the future. And 30 minutes before, I'd made a decision, not knowing I was going to be interviewed like this. So the lady says, "You're going to have to close." I said, "No, we're opening 2 new stores tomorrow." That went out unchanged. Bit hard to cut that, isn't it? That went out unchanged nationally. And it sent a message that we're not going anywhere. Frankly, inside, I got no idea. All I got is a vision left. There's not much else. Anyways, no time to do the rest of the story, but we went on and opened about another 30 stores between October and December. During the early days of the global financial crisis, another young business guy came to me and said, "What do I do about the GFC?" I said, "Stop watching the news." And he laughed. I said, no, 3 months before, I noticed I was getting a bit testy, sharp, anxious, and I realised, because I've been through this a number of times over the years, I was watching too much news. And he said, "So what do I do?" I said, "Cut it by at least 50%. But replace it by some encouraging things." Because if you're not having good input coming in, and most of us don't feed input, we swear by what the news says. Trust me, it's not authoritative, despite if they put the word up there. And for a whole lot of reasons. Family and friends, as I said earlier, don't make great business advisors unless they've done it. But everyone has a lot of opinions. So who are you listening to?